Well, as you know, we've been talking to a number of candidates in various contested races around the region, and the Calhoun County Treasurer is being challenged by a gentleman by the name of Brian Wensauer, and he joins us in the studio today. Brian, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for being here today. You're wearing your Navy hat.
That is correct.
You're a veteran, I presume.
I started in the United States Army during Vietnam. I was deployed overseas to Germany. Got to go over where my grandfather came from Germany.
Wow.
And I served 6 years, 3 years active, 3 years reserve. And presently, I'm a naval commander out of Lansing. We're part of the Michigan Department of Military Affairs.
Right, and the Navy is in the spotlight in Michigan these days with the USS Detroit coming and that commissioning and all that stuff, so that's pretty exciting around these parts.
I will be there tomorrow. I'll be there on Saturday for the commissioning.
Yeah, boy, we could probably have a whole show talking about that.
I bet we could put something together.
I bet we could, yeah. So talk about your background, other than perhaps what you already have said, that leads you to a point where you'd like to be the treasurer in Calhoun County.
Well, thank you. First off, I was born and raised in Battle Creek. My father came here with Percy Jones Hospital as their HR director. I was the firstborn in Michigan. We're Wisconsin, Ohio people. I went through St. Joe Catholic Schools, St. Philip's, graduated from there. Probably wouldn't want to tell everybody, but I was one of the first students at KCC.
Oh, that's all right. Say it with honor.
But I graduated from Kellogg Community College. Happened to be my senior year, just starting. My father called me from St. Louis, Missouri, and said, "You're being drafted."
Oh, boy.
I go, wow. So that started my military career. Upon leaving there, I graduated, came back to Post Cereals, which was very nice to keep a job for me. And then I was in management there and finished my degree in cost accounting and finance. And a few years later, they decided they wanted to ship me off, and I decided to start a new company called Merkel Medical and Dental. We were very successful in the state of Michigan and a little bit over into Indiana, repairing hospital equipment, dental equipment, et cetera. I was very active in starting one of the first computer companies in Michigan back in the 70s.
That's visionary.
It was called Merkel Computer Systems. A lot of people still remember getting their first computer from us.
Oh, my
So I do
goodness.
have an IT background. I have a management background. I also became involved with the Allstate franchise, and I became one of the first with Allstate in Michigan to receive their securities license. So I am also have a securities background, which is very, very important when we're talking about this position as Calhoun County Treasurer. I do know investment strategies. I've worked with them. I feel this is one of my strong points also. My IT background, bringing technology to Calhoun County, I think is very, very important. A lot of people probably don't know I was the interim president of Goodwill Industries. When we were in financial trouble, I was able to bring Goodwill out of financial trouble. We were basically bankrupt, being foreclosed by Bank of America. I took it with the help of my staff, who were awesome at the time. We took it out of bankruptcy in 7 months. We went from probably $800,000 to a little over $900,000 plus. The bank backed off, and today we're one of the top models for Goodwill industry in the United States. It's this stuff that I am going to bring to this position. I have the background. I have the technology. And being in the insurance field, I also have the background working with workers' compensation and looking at the participation rates. I don't know if anybody over in Calhoun County has ever looked at dropping the costs of workers' compensation in the whole Calhoun County area of our system. That means road commissions, everybody that works, we have to pay and cover workers' compensation. That's dollars in the county treasury. And that's one of the other things that is very important to me.
Brian Wensauer is here, and he'd like to be the Calhoun County Treasurer. You'll see his name on the ballot. And when we come back in a minute, we'll expand on some of what we've talked about now and find out what priorities Brian sees in that post. And that's in just a minute on WBCK. We're here this half hour with Brian Wensauer, is a candidate for Calhoun County Treasurer. We've been talking about his background and what he views as his strengths. What about priorities here, Brian? Is there something glaring that you see that is priority one for you in this post?
Yes, I do. First off, I have a management style that is very unique. I brought this management style to my own businesses. I have brought it to the profit area, as I mentioned. Nonprofit area, as I mentioned, with Goodwill Industries. Mm-hmm. I didn't mention one other thing. I was the business manager for Calhoun County Road Commission, and at the time I came in, we were non-compliant with our generally accepted accounting principles and was about to lose Act 51 money that goes to the Treasury. So real quick, that's very important. My management style, I think, is very unique, that I am one who is guided by a board of directors. My own employees were part of my guidance to make sure that my businesses were very, very successful. This is a little unique, especially in profit, nonprofit, and government, that I've had experience in all levels of this. I would bring this to the position and allow my employees to be able to interact with the Calhoun County commissioners, and also under the Calhoun County Land Bank Authority, allow them to be able to interact on a basis without micromanagement. I am against micromanaging employees. You hire people that are qualified, people that understand, give them the tools, let them be the ones to make the decisions. If you didn't want it, you do the work. Why have other employees that you're delegating these things to? Mm-hmm. So that is one big, really key point. What really got me into this filing for candidacy is the Calhoun County Land Bank Authority. The Enquirer has posted a lot of things about what's going on with the land bank and giving away property in downtown Battle Creek. I call it deals. I do not like deals. They bother me. I don't feel that they're going to help anybody. But we have two people who were able to, I believe it's called Urban 801, were given property downtown. And according to the article in the paper, and I'm quoting this because I'm not the one that was behind how this was put together, were given property for $5, $1 a piece for the properties. And per the paper, we are going to put these properties back on the tax rolls. Guess what they probably did? Filed for a 12-year tax abatement. So now, is this property on the tax rolls? I don't know, because I can't get a hold of the actual documents. I doubt very much that if they're very smart, they probably applied for it and receive it. Under the Calhoun County Land Bank Authority, they're allowed to put this property in the titlement of this couple. And they call it a quiet title. And what happens is that this property is then removed from the ownership of the Calhoun County Land Bank, and the ownership is transferred to these people. I have no problem with this young couple who I understand, and again, this is what I've read, have never had a commercial development before. So we're giving them millions of dollars worth of property for $5. They're going to develop this. Now, one property, just an instance, I tried to purchase with Goodwill for $300,000 and was told, we don't want our type of people in downtown Battle Creek, by the Battle Creek Unlimited. This really upset me. Now today, I understand by the paper again, and I'm quoting from the paper, that they had transferred this property to the Calhoun County Land Bank from BCU to avoid paying taxes. Now again, if you're charge as the treasurer of the Calhoun County, why are you taking property into the land bank, taking it off the tax rolls when they have the money to pay the taxes and put it into our treasury? Going back to the young couple, I think this is an awesome idea. Give them one property. See if they can develop it. If BCU could not develop this property, how can this couple, who have no financing like BCU, develop it?
So if we zoom out for a second, I think what we're talking about here is the approach that's being taken to try and develop undeveloped property or
that's been
dilapidated properties, right, in downtown. The process by which we're doing it is something with which you disagree.
That is correct.
How would you change it?
Well, first off, we can't change the one that's already happened. Also, I think it's great that Bandines are going to try to develop a climbing wall downtown. But read the paper. The paper says that they want corporate sponsorships. They want money. I can tell you for a fact that, if I'm not mistaken, I think the dollars amounts was around $50,000 per commercial or corporations to donate. Battle Creek, I don't believe at this point in time would probably support that kind of money for an investment for our kids. Sad, but let's look at reality. I would, first off, you can't change what's already happened. But we also have a lot of property in the land bank that I would like to see an initiative to give to our veterans. This Friday, we have a stand down. The stand down is to help our veterans and our people that are right now homeless. What we are, the present administration, the Calhoun County treasurer, was very good about giving Levi a veteran his home after he lost it. This is awesome. But in 4 years, we're talking 1 or 2 people. I want that number to be 50 to 100. I want to stand shoulder to shoulders with my veterans. I have been to almost every stand down, and we have these young couples who can't afford to pay the rent. They're caught in the middle. They make too much for this and not enough for that. Let's go and work out something to put these homes in veterans' hands. It can happen.
Brian Wensauer is here. We'll take a short break and come back a few more minutes with him and talk a little bit more about some of the concepts that he has, including some of which he's talked about, which to some extent might be a little tricky to pull off considering the number of entities involved. But we'll talk about that more when we come back. We're here for a few more minutes with Brian Wensauer, who wants to be the Calhoun County Treasurer. His name will be on the ballot. You were talking about the downtown development issue. The treasurer, of course, is involved in some of these aspects, but we start talking about the buildings that you've cited in your examples in downtown and the city and the downtown development arm there and Battle Creek Unlimited. And now we're talking about some big entities and some processes which have a fair amount of momentum. How can the treasurer get the attention of those folks that are at the center of this to try and talk about changing the process?
Okay, well, let me first start off with Calhoun County commissioners are responsible for placing the board of directors for the Calhoun County Land Bank Authority. By statute, the treasurer of the county is the board chair for the land bank authorities. There's several land bank authorities in the state of Michigan under the Michigan Land Bank Act. I think this is one of the best things that ever happened to Calhoun County, that we be involved with the land bank. This program is awesome. It just needs to be tweaked a little bit. We need to understand how each of these things can develop. As we mentioned, I touched on working with veterans.
Yeah.
There may be something legislatively that has to be changed. This part of it, I haven't had the opportunity to research, but I can guarantee you things can change if people want to make the changes. And so this is one of the important things. I am very proactive. I had businesses downtown. Where the charitable union is today was where my business. Across from Horrocks was my business. I am a very pro Battle Creek person. Battle Creek is alive and will continue to be alive. There are people in Battle Creek that will make this thing happen.
All right, and if folks want to learn more about you, you have a Facebook connection, I'm sure, and you've been knocking on doors, I'm sure.
That is correct.
And folks will get the chance to see you. Wensauer is the name, Wensauer. You can put that in on the search box on Facebook and take a look. Brian, we appreciate the time you've given us today.
Thank you, and I appreciate the time being here.
Best of luck to you.